Hello, beautiful. Get your coffee. It's time for Coffee with Matilda, a journey to self. Today, I'm back again with beautiful Nathalie Delaine. Hi, Nathalie.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. We have another episode of How to Become the CEO of Your Life. And today, we're going to talk about mindfulness. I'm very excited, Nathalie. I think this is an amazing time for lots of people, especially with what's happening in the world, to be mindful of our life and our actions. So I'm gonna let you two start talking about
Okay.
mindfulness. I think
Um,
when yesterday I was thinking about today's show, I have some questions, but one of the main questions that we actually covered in last time again, but I'm thinking if somebody join us today, they need to be aware of the two differences because we're constantly say, oh, awareness, then we talk about mindfulness. And for some people, which for me that was the case, it's very similar. I don't know if it's even different. I'm remembering what you told me, but I'm thinking that if you just give us, um, you know, some examples and
of
some
course.
process to remember which one is what.
Of
And I'm going to
course.
start with the juicy stuff.
Oh, yummy. I love juicy stuff. So, last time we talked about that becoming the CEO of your life and having the best life that you want starts with awareness, right? Like it was all about how everything starts with awareness. So, awareness is how we understand things by our senses, the way we see them, the way we smell them, taste, hearing, and that's how we experience situations, right? Through our senses. Like when we're aware, we are putting our focus and attention through our senses on something. Today, we're going to talk about mindfulness, which is super similar to awareness. They're kind of intertwined, and nowadays the words are used almost the same, but there's a slight difference, at least for me. Mindfulness is when you bring your attention to what you're experiencing right now without judgment, right? So being super present in the moment and what you're experiencing now with no judgment. It's paying attention to your thoughts and your feelings. And here's the word, being aware of what's going on inside of you and around you, right? So using that awareness, using your senses to see what's going on inside of you and what's going on around you. So that's being mindful, like what you're experiencing right now and without judgment, and being aware of what's inside and outside, and doing all of that together is what's now termed as mindfulness.
So basically, like when I'm trying to meditate, there's all these
Mm-hmm.
thoughts come. Like I wasn't thinking about anything, and then all of a sudden I'm meditating, and gazillion things are coming. I'm like, okay, why am I even thinking about my name? I already knew my name. So, so this is kind of the techniques that you use to be mindful, to be present. So I think
Yes.
meditation helps you to um, to work out that muscle.
For sure. You know, it's funny. Meditation isn't, I'm going to go through nine techniques that I like. Meditation isn't on here, but it's kind of implicit in the work. But let's talk about meditation, right? Meditation is a tool, and a lot of people get confused, right? They're like, I can't empty my mind. How do you
Mhm.
empty your mind? And there's something like 8,000 thoughts per second go through. I don't remember the number, so let's not quote that. But there's an extremely high number of thoughts that go through your mind per second. So, how do you empty your mind? It's difficult. There are people that can do it, have been studying for a long time. But what meditation really is the practice of coming back to the moment. So, let's say I'm going to meditate. I close my eyes, I'm here. I'm breathing like always. Breath is everything. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't finish dinner. So tonight I have to finish cutting the broccoli. And then you're like, oh, no, no, no. I'm meditating right now. Okay. Deep breath again. You recognize that your mind went somewhere else and you bring it back. That action is the magic in meditation, right? Like noticing when your mind wanders and saying, oh, no, 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 it's time to go back to being present. And the more humans, you and I, the more we do that action of going back to the present, that's that muscle that you said. Everything will slowly start to change and you won't even realize. And those moments that you start to wander become less. Like maybe it'll be 2 minutes without you having a thought. Maybe it'll be 5 minutes. Some people can go for hours, which is amazing. But it's that practice, recognizing that you've jumped away in your mind and coming
Mhm.
right back. So it's funny that I'm not going to talk about meditation today, but we
Yeah.
just did. So that's perfect.
Very nice, because I'm very, I mean, last year it was very interesting for me. I would love to meditate whenever I would feel I wasn't grounded. Sometimes there were days that maybe I would like to meditate for 3 times, or there were days that I wasn't even meditating. But I felt like whenever I really need some, I need to make certain decisions in my life, or I'm going through a tough day, or I'm not in a mood to do anything. It was a kind of indication that, okay, Matilda, you need to meditate. And when I would meditate, for some days was 10 minutes, some days was half an hour, then was feeling relaxed and my mood would change. Like I was ready to do whatever I was supposed to do that day. So it helped me a lot.
Meditation I mean, there's proven benefits. It helps you sleep. It lowers your blood pressure.
Mm.
It helps your focus. It's just meditation is, in fact, maybe we should just do an entire session on meditation. Meditation is actually what started me on my personal journey. So in 2016, no, 2015, one day I started meditating and I already had all these books and I just started. And then it was November. Pretty much from that year in November to now, I meditate almost every single day. And when I don't, it's rare, but then I just the next day I just get right back on it and I go every day. So we can definitely make it a topic and we just talk all about meditation because it's great.
Very nice.
I can't live without it.
So let's talk about our topic today,
Mindfulness,
mindfulness.
yes.
So tell me, so what are the steps, and then how
Yeah,
should I be? How I want to be a more mindful human being. So how can I
perfect.
know even I'm more mindful than maybe last year?
No, this is great. So, I mean, you don't need to compare this year to last year because once you start doing these things, you're gonna feel different. Like I promise you, right? Like there's you're gonna notice something's different. So one of the first things I like to do, mindfulness technique number one, is to mentally scan your body. And I don't know if you've taken a yoga class, but usually at the beginning or at the end of yoga classes, they end with like a relaxation. And the
I
teacher
like
will
the
literally
end of the
say,
yoga class.
oh,
I always loved it.
we all do.
I don't I don't like the whole during one. I'm like the end is like, oh, I go to class for this ending.
Well, at the end, the teacher will usually like walk you through like a body scan. She'll say, let's start with your toes, grip your toes, release your toes, relax your toes. And she keeps going up. Let's go into your ankles, release the tension in your ankles. Let's focus on your knees and so forth, right? Until you go through your whole body. When you mentally scan your body, you get to focus on an area that you had tension that you may not have noticed because you're now being mindful about your body. You can go through and then when you get to the shoulders, now mentally, how do my shoulders feel? And you realize you're like this and you've been sitting like this for half an hour. What do you do when you mentally scan your body? You release the tension that you had in whatever part of your body. So I love doing this. It's also great to do before going to sleep. It's like the perfect thing to do before going to sleep. But being mindful about how your body's doing, right? Like, and a lot of people when they're stressed, either they're like this or their feet are crossed really hard. Like you don't realize when stress is present, we do funny things with our bodies. And so mentally scanning the whole thing from your feet all the way up to your head, you get to like, it's like a little map and you go through and you release any tension that you feel anywhere. Um, and you're doing it mindfully because you're doing it step by step, piece by piece, and you're putting the awareness of that feeling, that sensation.
This is a
So
very
that's
nice,
step number one.
that's a very nice technique. And I think right now what's going on with Armenia, Karabakh, and Azerbaijan and Turkey is involved. So Armenians are very stressed. I'm Armenian, so that's why I'm talking about Armenia. Armenians are very stressed, and it's been, I think, 20 days, not less than 20 days, that this fight is going on. And a lot of Armenians cannot sleep properly. We cannot eat. We don't know what's going on in our life. And I was thinking, if this is going to continue, I'm going to lose hair. I'm something going to start, cancer going to come in for a lot of Armenians, because we are constantly in this stress mode. And I was thinking, maybe if you can help some techniques, this mindfulness, and how you're saying we can release some stress, that can be helpful for a lot of people, especially Armenians right now that they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try it tonight, because
Yeah.
I need some stress relief and be mindful of my body, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to be mindful of now. Then
So
an example.
it's so perfect, and just to kind of choose the right wording, it's not necessarily releasing the stress, it's releasing the tension.
Tension.
So I use the shoulders because it's easier. Right?
Mm,
If my shoulders are like this, they're literally tensed up and like the muscles are contracted. So when you release that tension,
mm,
yes, it probably releases some stress, but you're more so going through your body to make it into a relaxed state, which is opposite of stress. But it's more so looking for that tension area.
mm.
And I promise you, if you do this before going to sleep, like while you're laying down, oh, you're going to sleep so good, and you should get some sleep. I don't want you to get stressed.
I know. I need sleep. So our second step is.
The second step is breathing.
Mm,
Breathe in and breathe out. It sounds so simple, but we take our breath for granted, right? Like feeling the flow of our breath. And I mean, literally putting attention to it, right? Being mindful is
mm,
like you're being mindful. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Feeling that flow of breath in a mindful way will completely also help with stress and tension. Like it just, and it's a great way to meditate also. It's when we're mindful about our breath, we're being in the moment, right in this moment, because you're literally thinking about breathing in and breathing out. Like there's not really much else that you can be thinking about. It forces you to be in that present moment.
mm,
Some of the things that I like to do, and you say this a lot, Matilda, which I love, breathing exercises are grounding, right? Like bringing that breath. So when you breathe in, so it counts to 4, but when you breathe out, count to 5, right? Like you always want your exhale to be a little bit longer. And in between the exhale and inhale, sometimes there's like a little pause, and then you release that. When you're bringing the attention to the breath in that way, it's grounding us. And it's something that I know that you love to mention, right? Like you feeling when we're really stressed or when we're not sleeping and we're kind of all over the place and our minds all over and our being grounded feels great because we feel more in control, we feel more balanced.
yes.
So
And
breathing
assertive. I
is
feel like you control your life.
a little, yeah.
You're the queen of your life. No one else. This is your
No
territory.
one else. You're the CEO and queen. No, no one else. Yeah. No, but it's true. And it's again, and I say these are simple techniques because they are simple. You don't need to go to a store. You don't need to buy anything. You don't have to have a teacher. Like these are things that you can do right now. So again, like breath, like that in breath and that out
Mm,
breath, mindfully taking a breath and counting in for 4 and out for 5. And then when you get better at that, count in for 5 and out for 6, right? Like it's
mhm.
all about slowing down, deepening, and grounding. And again, this is a simple technique that you can do now. I can do. Anyone listening, you can do as soon as you get off this podcast. It's bringing that attention to the present moment,
And
using
nothing is
using your
more
breath as a
valuable.
tool.
Nothing is more valuable than the
No,
present moment, because
yeah,
that's where the possibilities are. Not in the future, not in the past. Now. Amazing.
no, right now. Life is now. Life is now. I tell some of my friends this often, like when I see that they're super stressed or kind of getting out of control, I quickly remind them, I'm like, hey, life is now, right? Like a quick little, but it's true. The present moment is where all is possible. So, um, the simple technique number 3, pay attention to all your senses. And this is kind of goes along with the awareness, right? Like, and what I like to do here is to give an example. So, because this is coffee with Matilda, pretend you're having your morning coffee cup. What do? You grab your morning cup, and how does it feel? It feels hot. Pay attention to the warmth that you're feeling in your hands, right? Like it's hot cup, you feel the heat, it's there. You also can feel how heavy it is. If you have a big cup, it's really heavy, right? Like it's a full, so it's also heavy in your hands. Next, go to smell. Inhale that cup. How does it smell? Like, what does the coffee smell? Does it have a flavor? Um, is it really strong this time? Is it lighter? Can you notice from what part of the country it's from, right? Like, use that sense of smell to really enjoy that cup of coffee you're holding. What about how it's going down your throat, right? Like, how does it feel when it's going down your throat? But starting with, what does it taste like? Like, as soon as you put it in your mouth, like, what are you tasting? Like, can you taste pieces of hazelnut? Can you taste pieces of, I don't drink coffee, so this is a funny example for me, but right, like coffee is tastes differently. So get into the way that it really tastes. And this is one example, but the getting into your senses will bring you is a mindful thing, period. Like whenever you fully focus on your senses, the 5 of them, there's the 6th one, but let's talk about the 5 of them for now. You're super present because there is no other place, right? Like right now I'm with you, I'm seeing your face, I'm hearing your voice, I'm feeling the fan that's cooling me down, that's keeping me calm. I'm feeling calm. Like you can do this sense trick with anything. In fact, we were talking the other day and I suggested you go on a color walk, which is kind of similar, right? To help with stress. When you're walking outside, look at all the different colors and not just, the gray from the gravel, but look at the flowers. As you see an orange? Do you see a pink? Do you see a yellow? Do you see a blue? Like putting your senses to the test, nothing brings you to the present moment more than that.
Oh wow. I'm really gonna do this walk and I'm gonna come back and tell you how it works because it's
Oh yeah,
amazing. And
it's really nice.
also, now that you were explaining about using my senses, like when I'm drinking coffee or maybe when
Mm-hmm,
I'm buying a flower, I feel like
mm-hmm,
all of these I would do it to make my life more sensual, to be a more sensual human being, uh, to bring poetry to my daily life in a way. And it's very interesting because these are the joys of life. We take granted about
mm-hmm,
even the coffee that we're drinking. And then one day we don't
mm-hmm.
have the coffee, you finish the coffee and you want to drink coffee and there's no coffee. And that's when you're like, oh, I need that feeling. And then you're like, wow, what an amazing feeling was that. Having ice cream sometimes, you're like, oh, I don't have ice cream in the fridge, but
Yes.
the ice cream would have gone, and you're like, well, but why I'm not appreciating that when I'm eating it, when I'm having it. So
While you're eating it.
it's important to understand, and these are just simple examples that we do every day. And if
Mm-hmm,
we try to appreciate all
mm-hmm.
these simple things, all of a sudden, end of the day, you realize, wow, what amazing life you have. And there's nothing extraordinary in it. It's just this simple
No.
things, daily things that you do makes it extraordinary.
Yes. Yes. 100%. And in fact, I'll get back to what you're saying now. It's number 8, but it's true, right? Like I'm not asking you to go spend $1,000 and get, a fancy doctor or go buy some new clothing or these are things you can do right now by yourself. Like there's simple techniques and I'm glad that you're seeing them and I'm glad that you're enjoying them. And I can't wait to hear how your color walk goes.
Very nice.
I'm excited. So number 4 on the
Mhm.
list is journaling, right? Like I've started journaling I've been a writer since a little kid, but I've gotten more intentional about it. Like as soon as I wake up, I put the pen in my hand and I put the pen to paper and I just write. And sometimes it's I'm really sleepy, I'm not awake yet, or I don't know what to write. But sometimes, and a lot of times, a lot of things come up, right? Yesterday I was feeling very sad, and I realized now that I slept, it was because of X, Y, and Z, right? Like journaling is so great for getting things out. And when you're purposely, mindfully writing down things, right? Like it's putting your attention on what's going on in your mind. And our minds are so busy, as we all know. Like getting some of that out of here and onto paper is such a beautiful practice. It's kind of like free therapy.
Yeah.
100%
I
free,
was I
zero
was gonna
dollars.
say that. I'm like,
Um,
sometimes you cannot afford to go to therapy, and this can
yeah.
be the therapy. Because
Hmm.
I believe we all have the answers within us. We just don't listen to us enough. So maybe
Amen.
by you
Yes.
taking the time and writing down, while you're writing, you can focus on the answers that your body or your mind or your gut feeling, whatever, I don't know which one is telling
Your
you.
soul,
Your
whichever.
soul
Yeah. Yeah.
is telling you, and then you realize, maybe the stress that you are feeling, it's not that stressful. It's not that logical. So you tone it down. You're like, okay,
Hmm.
خلاص, I can handle
Hmm.
it. Don't go overboard. Don't, it's not
The
Bollywood
end of the world. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. And sometimes getting out some of those thoughts and feelings and things, it releases some negative energy, right?
Yeah.
Like let's say you got into a fight with your partner and you wrote down all the reasons why you were so angry. I was so mad. He did this and he did this and he, right? But maybe you write it out and once you see it, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, well, he did do that, but I also did this, right? And then it's like you release some of that negative energy that's stored inside of you, and it's it's just like a dump. I like to say, not in a bad way, but like a brain dump. You're putting those things on paper, and it's such a great thing to do, especially in the mornings. I find, right, like as soon as you wake up, and when you're mindfully in that moment, right, of writing down feelings, thoughts, ideas, dreams, whatever it can be, whatever it feels super present. You're present with yourself in that moment, right? There's nothing else going on, like you're right there. um and it's personally, I love it, and like I said, it sometimes is like a free therapy. It's,
Very
and
nice.
no one has to see it, right? It's not so that you can go and show the world. It's your own little, I have a journal and I keep it in my nightstand and it's just there.
Very nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So the next one.
Number 5, this is going to sound funny, but water. We are humans, and humans are made like, what is it, 75%? I don't even remember the percents of water, but our bodies, we are made up of mostly water. Like, it's what's our makeup. So when you walk by water or go swimming or take a bath or even drink a cup of water, when you are mindful of how beautiful and precious this thing is, right? That we have inside of us, like it can also be grounding, right? Like sitting next to the ocean sometimes and just
Yeah.
listening to the sounds, being aware of the noise, being aware of the way it smells, just that feeling of calm that comes over. Like water is such a grounding tool. And again, it's simple, right? Like I drink water all day long, and sometimes I'm also writing something down, or and I'm just right. But no, take a second, realize A, that you have water, because sad topic, but
Fantastic.
not everyone has clean water. Not everyone has access to water, right? Like if you can get a cup of water, enjoy it. Look at it. Look at the way it shines. Look at the way it feels. You're hydrating your body. You're grounding your body. And again, it's a simple thing
Wow.
and really good for your skin.
Yeah. Increase the intake of water
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
appreciate
No,
it.
it's and appreciate it, right? Like it's rejuvenating too. Like being in and around water, I'm also a water sign, so it's easier. But I love being in pools and in the ocean, and even just seeing water from where I am, where I live. I can see a water fountain. Like just seeing the water, the movement, it's rejuvenating. It's when we mindfully look and feel and experience water, it'll bring us to a more relaxed, peaceful, present state.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So number six is one of my favorite things. Time in nature. And this may seem silly, and not everyone lives, right? So a lot of people live in big cities, but time in nature. And I don't mean that you have to go to the countryside or go to the beach or go to the mountains, right? Like wherever you are, you can always go outside, and it can be as simple as listening to the birds if there's the sound of birds, right? Listening to the wind, looking at how the wind makes the trees move. And to me, they always look like they're dancing, especially where I live. Like they're just always flowing, like, right? Like paying attention to the wind in the leaves, the way it sounds, right? The colors right now, it's fall. And I'm from New York, and this is one of my favorite seasons. I don't live in New York anymore, but the different colors, oranges and yellows and reds and maroon and brown, like looking at those colors, like being in nature, but like experiencing it, if that makes more sense, right? Because where you go outside every day, you go to work, you go to the store, we go outside, but it's taking a moment to be mindful about what you're seeing, what you're hearing, how it makes you feel, what it smells like. Sometimes I love the way the earth smells after it rains. It's just like this delicious, yummy smell, and it reminds me of my childhood, and it just brings like good feelings just all in my chest. And to me, nature is also very grounding, right? Like we spend a lot of time on our computers, we spend a lot of time on our phones, on our TV. It's tiring, and that's not real light. Like what we're doing now, this is false light. So getting in nature is also rejuvenating and good for our souls and free
Exactly.
also.
I to be honest, I don't know why I never, but I was living in New York and I never felt like, oh, I need nature. I was very okay with New York. And I was like, oh, I'm a city girl and I love buildings and, you know, I don't like camping. But when the COVID happened and lockdown happened, I was in Paris and I realized just walking in forest, they have a lot of forest here. Just walking in the forest and seeing that beauty is like, wow, you feel fresh, you feel free. You feel free, yeah. Something that you don't feel it in the
Hmm.
city. So
Yeah.
after the lockdown, I mean, when the lockdown started, I started appreciating nature. And now I feel like, yeah, I need nature.
It's
So this is good.
we don't realize, especially people who live in big cities, right? Like you're just used to the movement and the stress and the back and forth, but there's a quiet peace that nature
Mm,
gives if you're willing to notice the beauty, right? And you said that so nicely. You look at the beauty of what nature is, and there's butterflies and mosquitoes, which I don't really like, but like, right, there's so many different things in nature that happen on its own. And when you really stop and mindfully look at things, it's beautiful.
very
It's
nice.
really beautiful.
So what's our next one?
So kind of in tune with that. So, number seven is vitamin D. And specifically, I mean from the sun. So, the sun for us, I always, as a joke, I always say the sun is my life source. Like, it's just, that was one of the things that was hard for me when I lived in New York because not a lot of sun. And when it is sunny, all the buildings and everything, you can't even see it. But vitamin D is so good for us, right? And even if you're out there for 5 minutes, like feel the way it feels on your skin, like your skin absorbing the rays, absorbing the heat. If you don't like the heat, right? Like maybe it can be during the winter even, and you have your beautiful face exposed when you have a scarf and a hat, but your face is out, right? Like turn your face towards the sun, feel the way it is on your body, like feel it sounds funny, but it's nutrition, right? Like our bodies, humans, we need vitamin D. And the sun is probably the most natural source that we can have.
I
And
love sun, but unfortunately here in New York I couldn't get it here. It's like there's no sun. It's always raining every day. I'm like, how is this possible? It's gloomy and rainy. So
oh,
I'm really
every day.
appreciating sun. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had I'm used to having summers in New York, like it was really hot. Yeah, I didn't experience it. I don't know when even summer ended. Right now, actually, we're winter. I feel it's winter.
Already, and it's October.
Yeah, I didn't. I feel like my skin didn't absorb enough sun, so
Hmm.
I'm
Well,
missing that feeling. I'm looking forward to go to California soon, in LA,
good,
to experience
good.
sun.
Soak in the sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. Um, and right now, I mean, normally I would tell you it's time for a vacation. However, with COVID and the way the world is, I just be safe, right? Like you being safe is the most important thing. And but it sounds like you're gonna have a trip. And when you're out in California, which isn't it called the sunny state? What? Well,
Yeah, very
there's a
safe.
lot of sun. Yeah, there's a lot of sun. So definitely soak in your sunshine. And while you're doing it, be mindful, right? Like again, like these things that I'm talking about, they're not hard. The trick is, can you really put your
Appreciate it.
awareness? Can you
Mm.
can you really be present in the moment without judging, right? Or like and but without judging, I mean like, oh, I'm in the sun, it's been 10 minutes. Maybe I should put my sweater, I'm gonna burn, or maybe, right, like jumping out of the moment and starting to judge whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Or my mom won't like that I'm out in the sun this long. Being mindful is enjoying that present moment without the added stuff that our brain does. So I can't wait for your trip to California and some sun. And put sunblock.
I cannot
Protection,
wait.
protection,
Anytime.
protection is always, always important. Um, so number 8, and you touched on this, which was so beautiful. Number 8 is being grateful for all the things you have in your life right now. Like right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. And by this, I mean taking a moment. And what I do is, and when I write, I usually write 1 to 2 things. And I literally say, I am grateful for, like when we were in school, when we were little, right? Like, write that out. I am grateful for whatever it is that you're grateful for. But taking a mindful moment to think about everything you have, and being in gratitude about it, right? Like, it forces you to be present. It forces you to reframe the situation, right? Like for example, we were talking about water, and how I have water, I just go to my faucet and I open it, and some people don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes I forget how, and I shouldn't be wasting water, or I shouldn't just be, like it's reframing situations, and it makes you realize everything you do have instead of everything you do not have. And humans, and I am guilty of this, and I'm sure everyone else is too, we sometimes focus on the things we don't have, right? Oh, I don't have that car. I don't have that promotion. I don't have that house. Like, it's good to have dreams, but don't focus on the things we don't have. Sometimes just, what is it that I have? I have family. I have health. I have a home. I have food. Like,
I have,
and the
yeah,
list
my
can,
health. COVID. I think that one positive thing about COVID was to remind us how we are fragile and how our health is important. And that's it. Nothing else matters. If that's not there, nothing else matters. So,
it's true. It's really true. And if you have a hard time finding things to be grateful for, right? Like I always say, think about people, think about all the things in nature, and think about things. Like we do have things, right? I have things, you have things, and we've worked hard for those things. You should be thankful, right? Like to
Mhm.
yourself, like, ooh, I worked hard and now I have this. Like, be grateful, be thankful for those things. It's a beautiful gift, especially when you do it mindfully. It just, again, like everything else, it brings you to the present moment, and it brings you to this one in particular brings you to the present moment, but with like a yummy, good feeling too, right? Like whenever I'm having a bad day or I don't feel good or something, and I do a quick grateful gratitude
Mhm.
like exercise, I shift out of that state, right? Like because I do realize how much I have. Um,
You know,
and
I
it's
also
important. It's
I
go ahead.
also do that when I'm angry at someone or when I'm not talking with someone. Not that not talking, but I'm angry, I'm annoyed, or I want to yell at
Mm-hmm.
them if I get an opportunity. I always try to, okay, what am I grateful for? What is he or she teaching me? Or what is this
Mm-hmm.
relationship? What's the value of this relationship in my life? And
Mm-hmm.
then I come down and I'm like, okay, even if this person said something wrong, in my opinion, or did something wrong towards me, instead I've learned this, or this was the impact positively that I've received, which I have to be thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
And then automatically I don't have that bad feelings towards them that much.
Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful thing, and one way of wording what you said, right? Like there's gifts. Like there's gifts in the relationship with that person that you're fighting with right now, but that person brings something to you. That's a
Mm,
gift, right? Like, and these small little gifts happen to us all of the time. And if you're not aware, you don't notice. So I think, right, what we're talking about, being mindful, it just brings our attention straight to that beautiful thing, and it just reframes things, and that's important, and with all eight of these, right, like being mindful, what it does is that it breaks old habits so that you can create new ones, right?
wow.
So instead of waking up every day, having your cup of coffee and go, right, like that's what you've been doing, that's what you're used to, and instead today you're going to be like, no, I'm going to mindfully drink this coffee. You take your time, you smell it, you taste it, you feel it. It's warm in your chest. Like how different is that than from the everyday other day that you're just like sipping and going and you're also talking and you're no, breaking old habits
Mm.
to create new mindful ones is such a beautiful gift. It's the only way I can put it. Your lives will be so much more fulfilled. My life is so much more fulfilled, and bringing it back to the topic, right? Like becoming the CEO of your life is that you get to have it all and whatever you want. And when I'm mindful, my energy focuses on things. It it just feels great.
And also, I feel like you're gonna feel happier
Hmm.
because if you're not mindful, you don't even know what you have, what are
Hmm.
the value of these things that you have. But when you start becoming mindful, then you realize, wow, what a wealthy, what a amazing, what a um, boss, CEO person you are in your life, because you have all these opportunities, you have all these
Yes.
you know, good things in your life that maybe you were taking it granted, from drinking water, appreciating your water, to your coffee, your morning coffee, that how it smells, how it touches your um, body, or how it, how your bed is, and
Yeah.
how what a like a beautiful night's sleep you had, because not lots of people can
Mhm.
have one, especially if they are, in a bad situation. So all of these small things that
Mhm.
we don't know in our daily life, we don't appreciate. If we start appreciating, then all of a sudden we realize, wow, what a amazing life I have, and I never
Yes.
thought about it.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, that's when I say I'm the CEO of my life, is because I'm making it the way I want it to be. I'm shaping it, I'm creating it, I'm enjoying it, I'm grateful for it. And I don't know about you, but I want to be happy. And in fact, everybody wants to be happy, right? Like we're always searching for happiness. And these are these are wonderful steps. Being present, being in a present moment just trickles down to like a million other wonderful things. Um, but and I want to share something before we sign off.
Mhm.
I learned a new technique recently. This is super recent, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. It's called
Right.
the mindful pause. And I've only done it a few times, but so it's only 2 steps. It's pretty easy. Like everything else we talked about today, the first step is to take a pause. Like wherever you are, turn off your phone, turn off your TV, and only for a few minutes, don't worry, right? Like people are like, I can't
Mhm.
turn my phone off. And you take a pause, and it's going back to number two, which is breath, right? Like notice your in breath, notice your out breath, and do this for like 4 or 5 times, right? And with a pause, with no other distractions. And then the second step, which is amazing, is choose which of my character strengths do I want to pull out right now? Do I want to be right now? So, for example, I'm at work, there's a hard deadline, I'm stressed out. I take a break, I go to the bathroom, I breathe in there, and then I say, you know what? My organization skills are really going to come in handy right now in this stressful day. And I go out of the bathroom, and the rest of my day is completely different, right? So this mindful pause is kind of melding a lot of what we talked about in one, right? Like taking a break, taking those breaths, and then
And you're
choosing.
declaring something to yourself.
Exactly. You're declaring, you're choosing it. And there's so much power in that. And how amazing is it if you started a day off feeling one way, but then it ended in a completely different way, and all because you chose to shift. So I thought I'd share that with you guys, and
I'm gonna use
please
it.
try it. Yay, good, good, good.
Very
Please,
nice.
please, please try. Do you have any questions or thoughts or ideas?
No, but I'm just very happy because I wasn't sure about, I mean, I'm happy that you explained mindfulness very with this detailed and with the steps that I can improve my mindfulness in my life. And I feel like, with this mindfulness, I can appreciate my life better. And I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
poets and all these artists and, um, amazing musicians, they've maybe they have this mindfulness, they've learned this mindfulness and they practiced it a lot because they're in the moment and they express their feelings from the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So there, and you see that there's a lot of joy, a lot of poeticness that comes with mindfulness, and
Mm-hmm.
very a lot of sensuality. I feel I can
I
become
love that you
more
say
of a
that.
sensual woman if I'm more mindful of my life, my daily choices, and my daily activities. So you're gonna see more
100%.
sexual, sensual Matilda coming in.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. And remember, we talked about what mindfulness is, right? It's being aware of what's going on inside of you and out, like around you, right? And if you're aware of how you're feeling inside, in this case, let's say you're feeling more sensual, right? Like very into your senses and feeling. And imagine how you're gonna look on the outside, or how you're gonna present yourself on the outside, or your interactions with people on the outside. Like this is simple and it takes practice. But once you start doing these little things, and right, like I'm not telling you to go do all 8 of them in one time. No, choose one. Focus on your breath, or focus on your body, what's going on in your body, right? Like scanning the body, like, or going to be by water. Pick one in a moment that feels good to you and just try it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Oh, my
Nathalie.
pleasure. My
So next
pleasure.
week we're gonna come with another step. We're gonna talk about another topic and
Yes,
different
I can't wait.
steps
Yes,
about
which
it.
is all gearing towards making the life that you want.
And becoming the
That's what it's
CEO.
about.
that you always
Yes.
dreamed in your life.
Yes. Like you said, that's already inside of us, right? We already have everything inside of us. We just sometimes need a little push. Like, here you go. So you and I will help
Very good.
people and people and people. Have a
Awesome,
beautiful
Nathalie.
evening.
Thank you for your time. It was a beautiful talk, and I will see you next week.
Okay. Thank you.
So, ciao, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.